Well, isn't this quite the surprise? I didn't expect to be seeing you again so soon, my dear. Of course, not that I'm complaining. Your company is always welcome. Oh, my dear. Why so glum today? You often visit me because you have news or a new joke to share. But today, it's as if someone's sent clouds about your head, and you aren't able to see the sun. Don't be telling me it's nothing. I'm quite familiar with your behaviour now, my dear. If you say it's nothing or you tell me not to worry, I know that it's something I should definitely be worrying about. So why don't you tell me what's happened? You've gone and hurt yourself. Oh, my dear. How did you manage that? With a knife. But how did you... There's bloodstains on your sleeve. Quite fresh, too. And very, very dark. Oh, my dear. When you said you'd gone and hurt yourself, you didn't mean you'd done it by accident, did you? I see. Don't you go walking toward that door now. Have a seat. I ought to have bandages somewhere around here. Of course, there isn't much call for it when you're working with the dead, but I think I might still have some. Oh, perhaps a bottle of antiseptic too. It will hurt quite a bit, but we all must make sacrifices for our health, my dear. What do you think I'm talking about? I'm going to treat those nasty wounds of yours. You've already bandaged them, have you? Forgive me, my dear, but you seem to have done it rather hastily. And haste can often lead to sloppiness, which might explain why there's blood dripping from your sleeve by now. So have a seat, roll up your sleeve, and allow me to do what I ought to know how to do. I'd never said I wasn't mad. At you, however, I am certainly not mad at you. What am I mad at, then? Well, can't you tell? I was hoping that certain people wouldn't ever come to this. I was hoping that, by now, people would start to take these things more seriously, so that it wouldn't get to this point. I knew that you'd been struggling for a while, my dear. I used to struggle the same way. I know the signs. Still, I did try to be there for you. I thought, perhaps they're simply hiding it because they're ashamed. After all, such things aren't viewed as typical these days. I thought they'll come to me when they're ready, if they ever need my help. I thought, if things ever come close to being unbearable, they ought to come to you, before they do anything they might regret. I suppose I thought wrong. I suppose my signs might have been a bit mixed, weren't they? What signs? Well, that just proves that I wasn't doing a very good job now, was I? I tried to hint at the former struggles I once had, with the things that were going on inside my head. I tried to make it seem like I wasn't always this happy or this goofy. I tried to show you that maybe all this happiness, all this talk of jokes and silly things was an act so that people don't realize what I'm really like, so that people don't really know what's going on inside. But I suppose I just came off as silly, didn't I? Or weird at times? I thought so. Subtlety has never truly been my specialty. So when I tried to be subtle, well, I didn't want to overdo things as I normally do. So I underdid them, I suppose. And now look where it's gotten you. I should have made things clear from the beginning. I knew you were struggling. I knew that there was a possibility that this would happen. I knew, and yet I wasn't able to stop this. I should have known, my dear. I ought to have known long before you did. I ought to have broken the rules if I had to make certain this wouldn't happen. What am I referring to? My dear, it's going to hurt when I unwrap these bandages and begin to clean your wounds. So how about we save the questions for while I'm torturing you, essentially? Believe me, my dear, you will be desperate for a distraction. Now, roll up your sleeve. I see. The cuts begin here, I presume? You kept the blade rather far from your wrist, didn't you? Why is that, my dear? I see. You merely needed a release. You weren't intending to do anything more than this. That's certainly a relief. Now, as for these rules, do try to keep still while I explain things, my dear. I would hate to hurt you more. Easy, easy. These rules are for people like me. People who aren't exactly people anymore. You see, when I was struggling as you are now, I couldn't quite pull myself up from rock bottom. So I wound up dead. And now, I'm something that is not human anymore. Yes, my dear, of course I'm dead. Why else would I be so content with working with dead people? My dear, I'm not a ghost. I'm not an angel, nor am I a demon. I'm what's referred to as a Reaper. Yes, like the Grim Reaper you've heard stories about. You see, Reapers collect people's souls when it's their time to die. We deliver them to the right place in the afterlife, based on what their book tells us. The book of their life. When I first met you, I could sense that you were struggling, as I did. It became quite easy to recognize the signs as I got to know you. I ought to have snuck your book out of the library. After all, I do have quite a high status among Reapers. I am one of the best, actually. I always complete my tasks, with the utmost care. No, I wouldn't say that. I'm not necessarily a killer. The people whose souls we take, they're destined to die. By their own hand, by the hand of fate, or by someone else's. We simply take their souls once the deed is done. And to know how they will die, in the library there exist books for each individual on this earth. When I saw you struggling, I was so very tempted to break the rules and look at your book. I'd be breaking the rules, for you are not my case to deal with. And, as it happens, your time to die isn't for quite a while. You still have plenty of years left on this earth. Still, I worried about this. I worried that soon this would be what you turn to make the pain go away. And believe me, once you start, it is damn near impossible to stop, unless someone else attempts to intervene and help you. I ought to have taken that damn book. I ought to have prevented things from ever getting to this. My dear, you are one of the few living friends I have. I want to protect you with every power I have. I want to keep you alive for as long as I possibly can. And if this had not gone as you had planned, I would find out far too late. Either your case would be assigned to me, or I would find your body waiting for me when I came into work the next day. I can't bear the thought of losing you. I simply can't. So I do take responsibility for this. I should have intervened before this happened. However, this is the first time you've done this, isn't it? I thought so. I'm able to tell you, see. I still bear the marks of my first time doing this. Fortunately, that means that it might become a bit easier for you to stop. It isn't a guarantee, but it is a possibility. Especially now that you know. Know what? About me, of course. You know that I've gone through this very same thing. You can talk to me about it. You can be certain I won't judge you. I promise, my dear. Any time you need me, you just call out for me. Now that you know what I am, you know that I most likely will hear you. And I will. I will hear you if you call out for me, day or night. And in an instant I will be there. I could listen to you, tell jokes to you. I could hold you if you really needed it. I could even allow you to punch me a few times, if that would help. My point is, dear, I knew that this was a risk. and I did nothing to stop it. You don't deserve to suffer like this. So I won't let you. From now on, if you need anything, day or night, rain or shine, you come here or you call to me. I will always be there for you. Because believe me, my dear, once you start doing things like this, it becomes all too easy to imagine yourself making a mark similar to the one I have on my neck. And I never want you to get to that point. Do you understand me?